Now this might seem like a weird comparison, because how can you compare a clearly mid-range Google Pixel 3a to a clearly premium OnePlus 7 Pro? Like, it's an unfair fight, right? Like taking a knife to an Infinity Stone fight. Here's the deal, if anybody came to me and asked me what smartphone they should buy today, well, it's gotta be one of these two. So in this video, I'm gonna help you figure out which one of these is for you. Because the OnePlus 7 Pro is like a top-of-the-line Tesla Roadster that's not even come out yet. And the Pixel 3a is more like a Tesla Model 3. It doesn't blow me away by any means, but it's pretty sweet. Hi there, I'm Titus. We talk tech around here, and today we are going head-to-head with the OnePlus 7 Pro and the Pixel 3a. Now, before I move forward, I do want to mention that I am a OnePlus ambassador. It's not a paid position by any means, but it does include some perks. But I'm an ambassador because I've been a fan of OnePlus since the OnePlus One, and I've always really liked their phones. But I will do my best to make sure that I give you as fair of a comparison between these two phones as possible. Let's go. When it comes to the design of both phones, it's clear that the OnePlus 7 Pro is a striking, premiumly designed phone. The screen on the OnePlus is just the best screen I've ever seen in a phone. There's just so much of it to see because there's just no bezel to it. It's an HDR display and it's very responsive with its 90 Hz refresh rate. It's a noticeable improvement over the Pixel 3a and basically an improvement over like all phones on the market. But the Pixel 3a is no slouch. It has a solid OLED screen. It has nice colors, a nice picture, but it is quite a bit smaller. Typically on phones at this price, one of the corners they will cut is the screen. They will put a lesser quality screen to save some money, but the Pixel 3a has a really solid screen. But I will say one of the places that the Pixel is clearly cutting a corner on is the overall build quality of the body of the phone, but I'm not sure how many people are really gonna care about that. I, like many people, like to put my phone in a case to keep it nice and safe, even though I think that the raw OnePlus 7 Pro looks awesome. But unfortunately, I never really get to see my OnePlus 7 much outside of its case. But on the plus side, the Pixel 3a has pretty minimal bezels as well, with just small ones at the top and bottom. But in terms of performance, it's just hands down. The OnePlus 7 Pro is by far the fastest phone I've ever used. I seriously cannot think of one time this phone has lagged or even broken a sweat. But that's not to say that I haven't run into an app crashing or an app getting locked up on the OnePlus 7 Pro. But even when that's happened, the phone didn't really struggle and I could easily just close the app out and give it another go. Also considering that the OnePlus 7 starts out at 8 gigs of RAM and it goes all the way up to 12 gigs of RAM, this phone will probably age remarkably well. But looking at the performance of the Pixel 3a on the other hand, it's using a mid-range chip, but it's pretty fast for the most part. But it's a pretty clear difference when it comes to speed in between these phones. But if I'm being honest, I'll say for almost anyone, the Pixel 3a does a good enough job, at least considering the price point. But I do fear that the Pixel 3a might not age super well because I know that the original Pixel 3 had slowdowns after launch, and the Pixel 3a is further handicapped because it's using a slower type of storage called eMMC, which again could cause slowdowns down the road. But as it stands today, the Pixel 3a definitely gets the job done. It may not be remarkable, but it's pretty fast. And both of these offer a nearly pure Android experience. The Pixel 3a is supposedly pure Android, but it's using what it calls the Pixel Launcher, which is a pretty nice, very simple skin on top of the phone. And OnePlus, on the other hand, is using Oxygen OS, which is a pretty light version of Android that OnePlus makes just for their phones. I do really like Oxygen OS, but there are some features that, at least for right now, are exclusive to Pixel phones. Like on Pixel, the app switcher looks pretty awesome. Something really simple, but also really cool. Whenever you're using the app switcher, you have more than just options to select the recently used apps. There's also a column of apps underneath for easy access. Also, if you're a frequent user of Google Now like I am, which is their voice assistant, there is a separate download that you can make on the Pixel 3a to allow Google Now to operate even when the phone isn't connected to the internet. Now, I haven't really dove into this completely, but it's a really neat feature because in theory, it makes the Google Voice functionality on the Pixel 3a work a little bit faster. Also, call screening is amazing, and I really wish that Google would bring this to other Android phones. Like, the OnePlus 7 Pro, for instance. With the phone screener, if you get a call from a number you don't recognize, you can have the robot phone screener answer. And then the robot basically talks to the person for you, and then will transcribe what they're saying, and then you can decide if you want to answer the phone or not. These are all really cool features that should someday come to the OnePlus 7 Pro and to other Android devices. But as it stands today, as far as I know, Pixel is the only way that you can take advantage of these features. But Oxygen is no slouch, and OnePlus has added some really interesting features here. Here are some of my favorites. One is the hidden shelf for sensitive apps that you don't want people to know you have, like maybe your banking apps. Then there's stuff like game mode, which can trigger automatically whenever you're playing a game. It can do interesting things like whenever someone calls you while you're playing the game, it can put that phone call to speaker, or it can mute notifications altogether while you're gaming. And finally, my favorite feature in Oxygen OS, and at least it's the most useful one to me, whenever this screen is off, you can swipe on the screen gestures, and that'll trigger different things on the phone. Like if I draw a V, that can turn on the flashlight. If I swipe down with 2 fingers, that can pause or play whatever you're listening to. And if I draw an arrow to the left or to the right, that can skip the track you're listening to or go back to the previous track. And finally, if I draw a circle on the screen, that can open the camera automatically. These are things that OnePlus has had in their phones like forever and are completely customizable, and you can have these gestures trigger different things. Now you might be wondering, which of these approaches to Android do I prefer? And if I'm being honest, I prefer the Pixel 3a's approach to Android and having the latest and greatest straight from Google. But OnePlus does a really good job of not letting the software get in the way of the overall experience. Finally, let's talk cameras, and I'll be just upfront with you. My opinion about this might be unpopular because I know a lot of people think that Pixels have the best cameras on any phone. And I get it. It is a great camera, but I don't think it's quite that easy. Because in my book, both of these cameras are really close. At least after I got an update on my OnePlus 7 Pro. In fact, I think it even updated pretty recently the camera to make it better. But here's some of the thoughts I had when I was looking at the images. While you're looking at the images, the overall colors look very similar to me. Like the saturation looks similar, the exposure looks very similar. Just the greens, just like a lot of the colors, especially the greens, look spot on similar to my eye. If you're trying to decide between these two phones and the sticking point is the camera, I don't think the cameras on these really push me one way or the other. They're both just really, really good. And the selfie cams are pretty great too on these. A lot of people I've been showing my OnePlus 7 Pro to were just kind of blown away by the selfie cam. And while I'm on that note, I have a whole video that I uploaded recently where I'm showing the OnePlus 7 Pro to people who have never seen it before, never heard of it, don't even know what OnePlus is, and I'm just kind of capturing their reactions, and it's pretty hilarious when they realize that it has a selfie cam that pops up.
Whoa, 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 that! Wow, that's cool!
And video on both of these phones is pretty great too, but the Pixel 3a can't do 4K at 60 frames per second if that's what you're looking for. And also, I'm really impressed with the audio recording capabilities of the Pixel 3a. It does a really good job, even when you compare it with the OnePlus 7 Pro. It's just a more crisp sound. Really love it. And you probably are curious, you're now listening to the OnePlus 7 Pro. This is what the mics sound like on OnePlus 7 Pro. Not quite as good, but still okay. And finally, security. The Pixel 3a has a chip in it that Google claims makes it very secure, so that's nice. Not really sure what that means, but I thought I would at least note it. And the OnePlus 7 Pro has a fingerprint sensor built under the glass, which is super convenient and also incredibly fast. It's much faster than the OnePlus 6T. If you've ever tried that one, a very notable improvement. In the end here, I could totally understand why someone might decide that the Pixel 3a should be their phone of choice. And again, if you don't want to shell out the extra cash for the 7 Pro, I think the Pixel 3a is the best option out there. But for me, I just really love the speed of the OnePlus 7 Pro. I love the fingerprint sensor, and I just love that like truly bezel-less screen and just having all that screen real estate. I never thought I would care, but it is a deliciously bezel-less screen, and it just looks awesome. So for me, it's the OnePlus 7 Pro. That is my phone of choice, but I've been using their phones since the OnePlus One just because they're always really awesome and fast and a great bang for the buck. But if you're looking for an even better bang for the buck, I think the Pixel 3a is a great choice as well. Anyway, I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or feedback, or is there another phone that people should consider? Let me know below. And would you please do me a favor and leave me a like or a dislike to let me know what you thought of the video, and subscribe for more quality tech content just like this. Thank you again for your time, and I hope you enjoyed, and I guess I'll see you next time.